The song about the sea to shining sea beauty of America praises the skies, mountains, and land. Conspicuously absent are the rivers. Whether that's oversight or prophetic, a report coming out tomorrow says America's rivers are in crisis. Pollution is killing many of them, especially in poor communities. David Schechter has tonight's Eye on America.
I'm pretty surprised to see all that trash.
Yeah, and you can see we're not too far from houses.
Jerome Shabazz runs a nonprofit environmental education center in Philadelphia. He believes everyone deserves access to a clean creek, and he gave us a chance to get involved.
Come in here, you're like, this is insurmountable.
Right.
But you can make an impact.
If we go back and look at the before and after shots, you'll see that just the short period of time that we were here is going to make a difference.
What's not easy to clean up is raw sewage that runs from this pipe into another nearby creek, making it too contaminated to wade or fish in.
And the other thing is smell.
Yeah, it does not smell good.
No.
It smells like sewage. I mean, you don't need a scientific test to tell you there's sewage come out of there. You just need a nose.
There you go.
Nationwide, there are more than 7,000 pipes called outfalls, like the one Shabazz showed us, where wastewater from buildings and stormwater from rain flow together to the treatment facility. When there's too much rain, by design, sewage overflows into creeks and rivers. CBS News compared census data with outfall locations and found lower-income minority communities are twice as likely to have sewage dumping into a river or creek.
We see a lot of derogatory conditions in neighborhoods amongst people who don't have the political influence to fight back.
Some of these systems are well over 100 years old, built before environmental regulation. Rebuilding is cost prohibitive, but in Philadelphia, there's a natural solution: protecting what's left of the city's marshland.
I'm in, baby.
All right.
See you out there.
This is what the marsh is supposed to look like.
Lamar Gore runs the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge in Philly.
Are you sure this is Philadelphia?
Yeah, right. And I think nature-based solutions where you're looking within the landscape, and I think every city, every township needs to be taking a look at this.
The marsh works like a sponge, soaking in rainwater, which reduces the chance of a sewer overflow. But during heavy rain, raw sewage is still getting dumped in the river.
Can marshes be beneficial when you've got raw sewage running down your rivers?
They absolutely can be beneficial. It slows it down. It allows for the opportunity to break that sewage down.
But there's very little room to expand here because it's surrounded by homes, industry, and the airport.
These are the things that should have the urgency of now.
It's only a partial solution, but activist Jerome Shabazz says it's worth a try.
We really can't accept this on a basic human level as being normal. And I think we should do everything we can to try to remediate it so that people can enjoy and appreciate the built-in natural environments where they live, work, and play.
Clean water should not be a luxury for some, he says, but a right for all. For Eye on America, David Schechter, Philadelphia.
CBS News was given the first look at this year's annual list of the 10 most endangered rivers in America before it's released tomorrow. The list is topped by the Mississippi and also includes the Passaic River in New Jersey and the Rio Grande in Texas. On this Earth Day, we turn our focus to climate change's impact on the nation's rivers and on the fishing industry. For tonight's In Depth, CBS's environmental correspondent David Schechter waded into the warming waters.
This is the home of American fly fishing. This is ground zero right here. You're standing in it.
Brian Shepard is a guide on the historic Beaverkill River in New York's Catskill Mountains.
We'll go ahead and step on in the water here.
And he's teaching me to fish, if that's even possible.
It's not really about the fish. It's actually about introducing people to a way that their life can improve. And we try to expose them to the magic of this place so that they'll save it.
Got something.
Yep.
Oh, shoot.
That was a fish.
That was a fish.
But rivers everywhere are in trouble. Recent research found 87% of rivers studied across the U.S. and Europe are warming, with 70% losing oxygen.
What climate change does is it's starving the oxygen out of the water. It's raising the water temperature, and it's killing off trout. I don't know that I'll be doing this in 10 to 15 years from now.
Shepherd is part of the $1.2 billion U.S. fly fishing industry, but warming water means fewer fish during peak tourism season.
You know, when they hit that mid to high 60 range, it becomes kind of fatal to the trout if you catch them. Nowadays, we're hitting that for 2 to 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place and a really interesting river.
Jeff Skelding, executive director of Friends of the Upper Delaware River, says fewer fish to catch hurt the local fishing tourism economy.
If you go to the museums around here, you'll see pictures of people catching hundreds and hundreds of brook trout out of these streams. That has changed. You're not going to do that anymore.
He says over generations, rivers here have lost flow because of sediment buildup and the construction of dams. That leads to stagnant water, which heats up in the sun, along with the fish in it.
The problems that these rivers are experiencing are not very different than we see in many, many other parts of the country.
To cool the river down, Skelding's nonprofit group is working to restore the flow, which will help more than just the fish.
All kinds of recreational activities increasingly are supporting the economies of these communities.
Hey, David, get that net.
Get that net.
This is a brown, Catskill brown.
Way to go.
Ooh, and look, he's feisty.
Yeah.
Little brown. Little guy, but he's nice, beautiful.
Another magic moment on the Beaver Kill. For Shepherd, something worth protecting as the changing climate changes his industry. David Schechter, CBS News in the Catskill Mountains.
Off the coast of New England, the warming deep blue ocean is fueling the spread of a green menace. It's a troublesome import from Europe called the green crab. CBS Boston's Jacob Wyckoff goes in depth on the effort to turn this invasive species into a seafood staple.
In the marshes of Duxbury, Massachusetts, Jeff Ladd grew up fishing these waters alongside his father and grandfather. But just beneath the surface, this iconic New England fishery is changing fast. Warming waters are reshaping the ecosystem.
They're like cockroaches of the sea, basically. You can't kill these things. I mean, we've heard stories of, them coming back from a frozen state and crawling around restaurants.
These are green crabs, one of the world's most invasive species. And with few natural predators here, cold winter water was the only thing keeping their population in check. But climate change is altering that equation. New England's coast is warming faster than almost anywhere on Earth, especially in winter, fueling a green crab boom.
There's millions of green crab here in the bay, so it's had an impact on the clamming industry.
These crabs are voracious. They devour native crabs, clams, even young lobster. So Ladd is doing what most never imagined, fishing for a species no one wanted. Today's haul, 2 50-pound bags. That's pretty good for this early in the season, but during peak season, he could get up to 2,000 pounds. So the big question is, can people be convinced to eat them?
The idea here is to get some restaurants to use it and bring more money to the fishery.
Sharon St. Hour's family has been in the seafood industry since 1979. After seeing the damage green crabs were doing, she wanted to find a way to make them useful.
I thought, well, we already make a seafood broth powder. I wonder if it would make a good seafood broth.
Last year, she turned 5,000 pounds of crab into 1,000 gallons of broth sold to commercial kitchens. And she believes,
Cheers.
With a few taste tests, demand could start to boil over. That's really good.
It definitely has a delicious flavor, and I hope people don't think of it as something that they'll try on a dare.
If demand grows, Ladd and St. Hour say prices might follow, creating incentives to fish more and ease pressure on the local ecosystem. And with how quickly green crabs can reproduce, over 185,000 eggs a year, there's plenty of crabs to catch.
Everyone that you take out has the potential to prevent 185,000 of these things from either being in Duxbury Bay or going out with the tide to another community.
And each catch counts. Jacob Wyckoff, CBS News, Duxbury, Massachusetts.
Communities along the freshwater Mississippi River are facing a growing threat from an intrusion of saltwater from the Gulf. For tonight's In Depth, CBS's Katie Weiss reports it's affecting the seafood industry and raising concerns about the safety of New Orleans drinking water.
We're on the banks of the Mississippi River, and this is our main water source.
Mitch Jurisic is a third-generation oysterman, now a local councilman an hour south of New Orleans in Plaquemines Parish, where damage from saltwater is a daily problem.
It's wiped out our public oyster grounds east of the river, put a lot of people in poverty.
Saltwater from the Gulf has been flowing the wrong way up the Mississippi River and contaminating the fresh water supply for the 23,000 people who live here. Muddy messes like this one are popping up daily. Pipes corroded by the salt are rusting and bursting underground,
Wreaking havoc on our very fragile water system.
Fixing what's broken and building a stronger infrastructure would cost this tiny parish an estimated $200 million.
Power is a luxury. Water is a need.
Saltwater intrusion is happening more often and lasting longer. Researchers here say drought, sea level rise, severe storms, and dredging are some of the reasons why. In 2023, salt levels climbed dangerously close to New Orleans. Because the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers manages the river, they built an underwater barrier called a sill to stop the saltwater from flowing north.
That prevents the water from getting up to New Orleans, St. Bernard.
Corps spokesperson Ricky Boyette says the sills wear down.
It's the first time it's ever been done 2 years in a row, more or less 3.
It's not just to protect the estimated $9 billion in annual tourist dollars that pour into the Big Easy. 40 million metric tons of exports from New Orleans travel down the Mississippi each year.
We do have the largest shipping channel in the country.
So this summer, the Corps is filling crevices that have formed on the eroding edges of the riverbank.
That's a lot of water that can maintain our flow.
It's a move state and local leaders have demanded for more than a decade.
What was the turning point for you to decide to take that action?
We looked at it as soon as it started impacting navigation. That's where our authority comes in.
Restaurant owner Byron Marinovich won't be waiting around. The salt corroded his appliances.
The biggest thing's been the ice machine. This is our third one in 15 years that we've had to put in. This one just cost us about $5,600 just to top.
What's next for you? If this keeps up?
We're looking to move.
Really?
Yes. Not having clean water is really like at the top of the list.
But Jurisic is staying put.
I'm not moving. This is my home.
Battling a quiet enemy. Katie Weiss, CBS News, New Orleans.